While Putin is focusing on Ukraine, all his proxy wars seem to be collapsing, like in Syria and in Georgia. 24 hours after entering Aleppo, Syrian rebel forces have entered the next regional capital in Syria, Hama. Regime Axis forces lines have fully collapsed, and panic in Hama and the Hama airport has broken out among regime ranks. If they make it to Homs, Damascus will be cut off from Russia's naval base at Tartus. This is a surprisingly strategic maneuver. It must have been very well planned in advance. If they then turn west, Russia cannot take its warships out of the Black Sea under the Montreux Convention laws while at war with Ukraine. They would have to reinforce their naval base from the Baltic Sea. This gives Trump, Turkey, and Ukraine a lot of leverage against Russia. Later, the Syrian Arab army has been able to halt the rebel advance, push them out of Hama city, and regain control of several towns north of the city. Assad's army claims control of the towns of Mardus, Murek, and Halfaya, but there were reports of a potential coup attempt against Assad by elements within the army. The Syrian army's recent collapse in the face of rebel advancements highlights deep structural and strategic issues that have plagued the regime's forces. Rebel groups, led by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham and supported by Turkish-backed factions, initiated a highly coordinated offensive after months of preparation. These preparations included restructuring into a more conventional armed force, improving training regimens, and deploying specialized units for night raids and targeted operations. This strategic overhaul allowed them to achieve rapid territorial gains in Aleppo and surrounding areas, capturing towns and villages with little resistance. On the other hand, the Syrian government forces have been undermined by pervasive corruption and reliance on illicit activities, including the drug trade, to sustain the regime's elite. These factors eroded troop morale and operational efficiency, leaving the army ill-prepared for a robust military challenge. Additionally, recent aggressive shelling of civilian areas by government forces provoked the rebels into launching their offensive, undermining any remaining stability. Intense gunfire can be heard in Damascus, amid rumors of a coup against Assad being carried out by the intelligence officer Hussam Luka and his allies. If this turns out to be true, it will pose another problem for the beleaguered Syrian president Bashar al-Assad. There were rumors that Assad and his family fled to Moscow to seek immediate help from Russian President Vladimir Putin. Nevertheless, if this is true, Assad is in serious trouble, and we will see whether he can climb out of this abyss as he managed to do 10 years ago. But rebels managed to capture very important Kuwair's airbase, where is evident how quickly Assad's army and the Russians had to retreat to not even take out or at least destroy the aircrafts. Rebels captured a lot of weapons and even fully loaded BM-27 Urigan MLRS and L-39 training aircraft. Turkish-backed rebels are now in control of this strategically important airfield, which earlier this year got struck by Ukrainian forces when Russians were deployed at this site. Russia's use of Kuwairis Air Base in Syria has been crucial for its military operations in the region, particularly in support of the Syrian government during the ongoing civil war. Located in the Aleppo province, this base played a vital role in launching Russian airstrikes against rebel forces, strengthening the Syrian government's position. Since 2015, Russian forces have supported the Syrian military with airstrikes from various bases, including Kuwairis. And this is serious trophy. Syrian rebels have captured a Pantsir-S anti-aircraft missile system of Russian production in Aleppo. Let's see the other battlefield against Putin's influence, Georgia, where people are fighting back against Kremlin-masked enforcers and tear gas-infused water cannons in Tbilisi. A machine gun made of fireworks is being used against special forces. Georgian citizens are protesting because of the falsification of parliamentary elections by a pro-Russian party. The recent protests in Georgia against the pro-Russian government bear striking similarities to Ukraine's 2014 Euromaidan movement. Both revolts stem from a public rejection of political leaders who align too closely with Russia, defying the popular will for greater integration with Europe. In Georgia, protests erupted in 2023 when the government attempted to introduce a foreign agents law resembling Russia's legislation, which sparked widespread backlash, especially among the younger generation. These protests mirror Ukraine's Maidan Revolution, which sought to overthrow a pro-Russian government under President Yanukovych after he reversed plans for a European Union Association agreement. In both cases, anti-government sentiment was fueled by the fear that their countries were veering towards authoritarianism and Russian influence, despite widespread public desire for closer ties with the West. The comparison is also evident in the use of harsh police tactics against demonstrators, including physical assaults and the deployment of violence to stifle dissent. Both movements are propelled by grassroots organizing and a determination to break free from Russian political sway. Here we can see that protesters burned the building of the Georgian parliament. We are not only fighting against pro-Russian leader Ivanishvili, we are fighting against the hybrid war unleashed by Russia. They are investing enormous amounts of money. They're spreading disinformation. Help us, said Georgi Vashadze, an opposition leader.
We're not fighting only against Bidzina Ivanishvili, oligarch. No, we're fighting against Russian hybrid war here. They're investing and spending enormous amount of money. They are spreading disinformation. So help us.
With today's mass arrests in Georgia, the parallels with Ukraine's 2014 uprising are striking. In both cases, the people's aspirations to join Europe are crushed by a pro-Russian leader who abruptly abandons negotiations for EU integration. But there is a puzzle. Why make it public? Why do pro-Russia governments announce they're ditching the EU? They could just slow it down, stall for years, and quietly kill it. Look at Turkey, that's how it's done. Instead, they make a brazen announcement, effectively telling their people, your democracy is over. This is Russia now. This move guarantees to provoke a fight and present an opportunity to crush the protests. But the people will resist, and a revolution is inevitable. I think it's Russia's play. They're scared they don't have enough control to quietly kill EU aspirations, so they roll the dice and push for a fight. If pro-EU protesters are crushed, Russia wins. If there's a revolution and Georgia is weakened, it's at least a draw for them. Either way, it's better for Russia than letting Georgia sort things out democratically. But this is Georgia's chance to break free from Russian control, just like Ukraine did in 2014. Sure, Russia went to war later, but Georgia is in a better spot now. Russia is bogged down in Ukraine and doesn't have the muscle to strong-arm Georgia militarily. Russia never learns. It failed to suppress Ukrainians by force, and it will fail in Georgia too.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.